themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What's up, YouTube? This is the real Super Mario, and I'm bringing you the first of three Guardians of the Galaxy analysis videos. Um, I split this up into three videos because I was writing the script for this video, and I did the research, and then I wrote the script for the video, and I was kind of like, wow, this video is like hella long. I was like super long, so I was like, okay. So I took out some things and I decided, alright, best way to do this would be to split it into three videos. Because I seriously doubt you guys want to sit here for 20-30 minutes and just listen to me ramble on. You know, no matter how sexy my voice sounds. So, here we go. Alright, so this first video is going to cover the plot and the setting for the movie Guardians of the Galaxies, which has probably been one of the most debated things about the movie, because of the simple fact that this takes place in the Marvel universe, the Disney Marvel universe. So how does this fit into the phases that they've divided everything into? So phase one went from the beginning Marvel movies to Avengers 1, and now we're into phase 2. So phase 2 kind of started with Iron Man 3, Captain America 2, and Thor 2, and basically, all of these movies go into phase 2. So how does Guardians, fit into the Disney Marvel phase universe type of thing that they're doing? So here goes my assumption on that. Okay, my assumption is that I think Guardians of the Galaxy is gonna kind of phase into the story of it's gonna phase into the whole phase thing, but it's kind of not. Like, what's happening here is Guardians will take place in let's get back to that in a second. First, I was gonna go through just the regular stuff here. So Guardians of the Galaxy takes place in another part of the galaxy, the same galaxy, where Earth is, where the Avengers took place, where Thor and all the other Marvel movies take place, but just in another part of the galaxy. So this is to really set up the space of this universe. So, I mean, space really hasn't been touched base on. Everything in the Marvel universe has really been about Earth and space things coming to Earth, but we never really knew what was in space. So now this will set that up. They kind of gave us an idea of what's in space with Thor 1 and 2, dealing with Asgard and the and the Dark Elves and all that kind of stuff. But it's really like a small taste, because with that it's kind of like, well, what else is out there? There's like a ton of, there's a huge galaxy out there that's not been touched. And this movie is basically made to expound upon that, to set up an aspect that's outside of Earth. That's kind of why Guardians of the Galaxy is so important, because, the Avengers 2 is gonna really settle around Earth, essentially. But the Avengers 3 might not do so. Because we didn't see Thanos in the end of Avengers 1, and we do know that since he's there, he'll probably play some role in future Avengers stories, and maybe even future regular Marvel stories. So they have to set up space, because he's a space person. He's not a human. He's not a robot. He's an alien, and they have to set up space. So this movie could also be used to introduce Thanos as this awesome puppet master, because he was doing the deal with Loki. He's manipulating Ronan, so they can set him up as this puppet master of space, and also set up space as a whole, set up what's going on outside of Earth. So this is partially why Guardians is so important, and this is going to be a big part of the setting. So yeah, this will impact future Marvel stories. You know, so in the setting here we have it's really gonna be set around the planet Xandar. I probably butchered that, but it's gonna be around Xandar, and you know, this is the planet where, you know, you see in the first trailer where the Guardians are imprisoned on this planet, and you know you see like Glenn Close, and you know she's like the leader of Nova. She's Nova Prime, and she kind of is the head of the defense force for this planet. Um, all right, so you know it's gonna take place on several other planets because this is kind of like a intergalactic spacefaring type of movie, you know. But the main setting is Xanadar, and that's the main focus of the film. For this film, is protecting Xanadar from the evil threat, which we'll get into in later videos. Um, you know, that's really the setting. Now, the time period. This has probably been one of the things that's been the most debated about this movie, at least with me anyway. The time period, I do think this takes place the same time as the Avengers. And the reason I say that is they take place in different parts of the galaxy. So, you know, right now, I mean, this could take place a little bit after the Avengers, but it's roughly the same time. It's not like, you know, this is not like, you know, 100 years in the future. You know, this is actually taking place right now. Or, you know, I did have a theory that it could be taking place in the past. Star-Lord and basically his Walkman and all those old songs that were on the Walkman. But then I realized that Star-Lord's been in space for like 13 years or so. So, you know, so he's been in space really all his teenage life and into his adult life. So this could very well take place at the same time as the Avengers. The other reason why a lot of people thought it took place in the future was because Star-Lord is not the only human in space. You know, like Glenn Close, pretty much most of the people on Xanadar, most of those people are humans. I mean, there are other aliens there too, but most of them, they're people, they're normal humans. And so it's kind of hard to explain why they're there. You know, if this takes place the same time as, you know, the Avengers, you know, why are there humans, you know, on distant planets? You know, they haven't really explained that yet, but I do believe it takes place at the same time. Just two different parts of the galaxy. You know, unlike, wow, really? Unlike other Marvel movies, you know, this one, the setting here is more like lighthearted, carefree type of setting. It's not as serious, you know, it's not as dark. Like some of the Marvel movies have had like a dark tone, you know, especially some of the sequels, like, you know, Thor 2, you know, Captain America 2. Like Captain America 2 is like in dark tone, you know, American like symbolism, you know, like, oh, you know, America, you know, has been, you know, done some dirty things. Like you saw in there where, you know, Captain America, his stripes literally get dirty, you know, and it's kind of symbolism. You know, it's kind of like, you know, to symbolize, you know, what America has gone through and what, you know, what has had what a post 9/11 America has become. It's become, you know, it's not the clean, pristine place it used to be. And you know, Guardians of the Galaxy didn't have that kind of dark, serious tone, you know, that the recent Marvel movies have had. You know, it's more of a kind of like a lighthearted, you know. Actually, this Guardians of the Galaxy seems closer to what you would expect from Josh Whedon. You know, this is like, I mean, it does seem like, you know, Firefly or Serenity or something like that. You know, it does seem something that's carefree and like light. You know, this seems like something that he would do. You know, but yeah, this setting is fresh for a Marvel movie. Well, the plot of the plot goes like this. Well, there is a guy by the name. Well, the plot so basically surrounds five characters. It's it's Star Lord, it's Gamora, Drax, Rocket Raccoon, but they're calling him Rocket in the movie, which works, and Groot. They are the five Guardians of the Galaxy. All right, and they're basically criminals. Gamora's an assassin. Star Lord's kind of like a criminal smuggler. He's kind of like a combination between like Han Solo and like Indiana Jones, with like just a wee bit of Captain Jack Sparrow thrown in there just for spice. Um, there's Rocket Raccoon, who is, he's kind of like a thug. You see him in that one clip where he's kind of like, he's all thug life. He's holding the gun, he's holding his crotch or whatever. And then you've got like Groot, who is, he's Chewbacca essentially. That's basically what he is. He's Chewbacca. And then you have Drax, who is like the muscle. He's supposed to be like the psychopath. Who's on this like path of revenge. We have that's pretty much the beginnings of the setting. Of the plot. Now, what happens here is they all get arrested for whatever reason, and they end up on Xanadar in jail. And now there's a threat to Xanadar. Somebody wants to destroy the entire planet and kill all the people. This is where we come into the villains. Ronan the Accuser wants to destroy all of Xanadar. We kind of know why, but I'm going to get into that in the villains video, which is the next video for this series. Ronan the Accuser wants to destroy all of Xanadar, and he's gonna go to some great lengths in order to do so. He has minions. He has Korath the Pursuer and Nebula. So that's kind of the plot. So basically the Guardians have to, they have, Nova has nowhere to turn. There's nobody who can stand up to Ronan the Accuser, with the exception of the Guardians of the Galaxy, who they don't know who they are yet. They don't know that they're the Guardian. So they have to help them. They basically have to turn to the Guardians like, look, we're gonna die unless you help us, so will you help us? So now this band of misfit criminals now have to band together and save the galaxy. Alright, so the other side of the plot, which is, this is more like the side of the plot. This is the more, I would say, probably the more interesting side, because this points to things that are happening in the future. This is probably where it connects to the Avengers, and that is Infinity Gems. Alright, Infinity Gems, to me, they're like the Dragon Balls of the Marvel Universe. Because I read through at least the wiki to like Infinity Crisis, Infinity Wars, Infinity Watch, all these Marvel comics about the center around people trying to get and or protect the Infinity Gems. So basically what they do, each one of them has a specific power, and what you need to do is you have to bring them together, and if you bring them together, you essentially get godlike power. And so this is what Ronan is looking for these crystals. Why he's looking for the crystals? Well, we'll have to figure that out later. But he does want the crystals. And that is another part of the plot for this movie. You actually see this in the very beginning of the first trailer, where you see Star-Lord and he walks into like the little temple place, and you see him, you know, he grabs the he goes for the infinity, he gets the infinity gem, and then Korath the pursuer rolls up and he's like, put it down, you know. So yeah, you know, that's the plot. It's defend Xanadar and basically keep Ronin from getting the crystals, the infinity gems, aka, you know, Stan Lee's Dragon Balls. You know, it's gonna be very interesting. This movie, I'm more hyped about this movie than I am about probably any other movie this year, with the exception of the last Hobbit movie. So this should be awesome. You know, I mean, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was alright. X-Men was freaking awesome. You know, Captain America was awesome. Superhero movies have been awesome this year. This one cannot fail. It's not gonna fail. It's gonna be awesome. So, you know, that's about it for the setting and the plot for the movie for right now. My next video will be the villains. So, if you want to keep up with this series, just like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around.